stars are in line, the weeper, we would know. Jump into a hole, let the fire soar.
Hey everyone, welcome back to She Birds Podcast. I'm your host, Brooke Nichelle, and today's guest is Adam. Hi, Adam.
Hey, Brooke.
Thank you so much for being a guest today.
My pleasure. Glad to be here.
So, can you tell my listeners a little bit about yourself as an author?
Sure. I'm a science fiction and fantasy author. I've written, oh boy, my wife and I counted them up the other day. I've written or contributed to 25 books so far.
Oh, wow.
9 of them are in my Cassidy Chronicles universe, and 3 are in my brand new fantasy universe, the God's Fall universe.
Wow, amazing. So, I wanted to bring that up while we're on here. 1 second. Okay. So, I wanted to get to your latest release, but I want to tell my listeners about the rest of the books in the series first. So, I want to start with book 1. Can you tell us a little bit about book 1?
Sure. So, book 1, when an angel and a demon fall in love, there's hell to pay, and heaven is waiting its turn. But they discover along the way, as they try to figure out exactly what brought them together, that not only are they not an angel and a demon, but they're actually the keys to a celestial plot that goes back to the beginning of time. They're going to have to figure it out if they're going to prevent an early Armageddon.
Nice. How did you, what inspired this story?
So a couple years ago, a friend of mine put out an open call for a flash fiction romance story. Just 1,500 words tell a story. And I had done a story for her the previous year and gotten into that anthology. And so I figured, okay, I'll give it a try. And these 2 characters popped up in a story. And it didn't get into the anthology, mainly because there was so much unsaid. There was so much more to be told, more to the story, that she couldn't, it just didn't ring as being complete because it wasn't. So I started writing the story that wasn't told, and 220,000 words later, I had a fantasy romance trilogy and had to get it out there.
Wow, nice. What was your hardest scene to write in book 1?
Hardest scene to write? Actually, book one was a blast. It just, whoosh, it really flowed from scene to scene to scene to scene. I didn't really run into any stumbling blocks until the 3rd book, where I'm trying to tie all the loose ends together.
Okay. How did the character development come along? Like, how did you develop your characters?
So again, an angel and a demon, or at least they think they're an angel and they're a demon, and that's all they know. So Kalili, the demon, starts from a place of being very cynical, very jaded with the world, because she, even though it's 10th century Rome, she's already been hanging around on the earth for 6,000 years. So been there, done that. Very, do I have to do this again? And meanwhile, Faith comes to earth, and this is only the 3rd time she's ever been out of heaven. Period. And it's only the 2nd time she's been on earth. So she comes in very wide-eyed and innocent and naive. And as the books go on, they discover the world is not black and white. The world is a whole bunch of shades of gray, and they more or less meet in the middle. As they both realize, okay, there are there are good things in the world and there are evil things in the world, and doing an evil thing is not necessarily a bad thing at times.
Mhm. Mhm. I like that. I like that storyline. So let's talk a little bit about book two. Can you tell us a little bit about that one?
So book two, all three books pick up immediately where the previous one left off, uh, which is one reason that I released all three of them in like 60 days, because I didn't want people to wait, have to wait a long time to get the next book. So book two, they've figured out, or they've learned, that they are not actually an angel and a demon. And so now they're trying to get a handle on what they actually are. No spoilers, I'm not going to tell you what they are. But, they start gathering information and they start gathering allies. Lilith comes in, the Archangel Ariel comes in. But they also learn that there's been a whole lot going on behind the scenes that nobody had any idea about. And the book, one of the close to the climax of the book, they have to go in. They have to find a new place to live in Rome because reasons. Again, no spoilers. And nice climactic battle. And I pull actually vampires in briefly as the opponents for this battle.
Ooh, so vampires is in it too? I like this.
There are vampires in there, and the vampires.
Do you have it on audiobook?
The audiobook is with Audible for the first book. It has been recorded. It's uploaded to Audible. They are in the process of reviewing it. So I expect that within the next week or so, it's going to be out and available.
Oh, did it freeze for you?
Yeah, you went. Sorry, I have a cat tapping at my arm.
Oh,
yeah. So
I froze.
Yeah, you froze. So that was book two. And then book three is they discovered the depth of this plot. And they're going back and forth between heaven and hell, trying to, I would say work things out, but they're not that delicate about it.
Okay. I like that. And I missed the answer. You did say they are on audiobook?
The first one is with Audible in review right now.
Oh.
So it should be out in the next week to 10 days. It usually doesn't take them very long to approve something.
Nice. Is your narrator the same narrator for the Chronicles, I think?
Yes, Veronica has done 3 other books for me. Veronica Wiley has done 3 other books for me in the Cassidy universe.
Okay. So I want to talk about the one that just came out yesterday. Can you tell us a little bit about that one?
Sure. So the book of 3, again, picks up right where book 2 leaves off, which is Kalili and Faith dragged out of bed, and they are on cobblestones in heaven looking up at the Archangel Michael. Not a place that Kalili ever expected to be, being the former demon. And Faith is rather angry at Michael because she's discovered that the mission that she got sent on, which was to kill Kalili, was completely unnecessary. Absolutely. So, there's a confrontation there, and we go through the book. They've got to figure out, they're still trying to figure out what exactly they are and what they can do. Mm-hmm. Their new roles didn't come with any kind of instruction manuals. So, They're trying to figure all that out, as well as simply staying alive, because there are forces both above and below that want nothing more than to see them dead.
So, did you want to read a few pages from your book?
Absolutely. So this is from actually the Book of One. So it's the first book, and it's when Kalili first meets Faith. So this is their introduction. I was so busy considering my next moves, I failed to notice the figure emerge from my bedchamber until she cleared her throat. Fuck me, it was the angel. Demon? She was glowing. I saw right through it, since it was one of the stupid parlor tricks the head office bestowed upon their feckless minions to create a sense of awe in the unaware. I could see it for what it was, and see through it. Faith was in full regalia, as defined by the popular human perception of angels. Unimaginative lot. She could have appeared in anything, but no. Short white tunic, loosely belted with a golden rope, sandals, a gladius to do the deed, and wings. Yeah, wings, which meant her tunic had some major alterations. I wasn't sure why she bothered. If she was trying to impress me, there were other ways to do it. Intimidate me? Unlikely, since I had a pair just as wide. I shooed away the idle thought. This was an angel sent to kill me. Then I saw her, under the glitz and glamour. She was tall, nearly as tall as me, maybe an inch less than my 5 feet 6 inches. Blonde where I was red, lithe and lean, with skin the color of honeyed oak. Her eyes were copper-colored, instead of my green, and were blazing with righteous fury. It was her lips that caught me, lips pressed together in anger and determination. Lips I wanted nothing more than to kiss? Wait, kiss? What the hell was wrong with me? Kalili, demon of the pit! Her harsh tone jerked me out of the hormone-induced haze, and I started thinking above the waist.
Ooh, I love that. And you said that was in book 2?
Book 1.
Book 1? Okay. Nice, nice. So, what was your hardest scene to write in that book?
Again, book one simply flowed. Book 1 was an easy one to write. Book 2, there were a couple of scenes where there were a lot of moving parts. At one point, Faith, who had come down with a sanctified blade, so a magic blade designed to kill demons. So in book 1, she loses it. Like, no spoilers, I won't say how she loses it, but it ends up in a Roman guardhouse as evidence. So she has to get in book 2, and this was a tough scene to write. She had to get into the guardhouse and get out, but of course it couldn't possibly be that simple. So there were complications. For example, she phases through the wall. She, again, immortal being, magical powers. She can walk through walls if she chooses to. So she walks through the wall, and it's pitch black inside, and she kind of rematerializes herself and trips over somebody's foot and yelps when she falls and hits the ground, which, it being a bunk room filled with several dozen guards who are off duty and trying to sleep, wakes them up. That was interesting, and not in a good way for her. So, yeah.
So, how much research did you have to do for your book? Because I noticed that you had Lilith in there, and I remember hearing about Lilith. So, did you have to do a lot of research for this book?
I did enough research to essentially know that I was going to take a sledgehammer to most of the popular concepts of various immortal beings. Lilith is not at all what she appears to be. Lucifer is not at all what he appears to be. The whole the whole ineffable plan idea that there is some sort of grand scheme for the universe. Not all of that it's cracked up to be. And so most of my research went into figuring out, okay, how are they generally seen now, and what alternate explanations can I come up with? So, okay, I will drop this one as a spoiler. So one of the questions that nobody can ever seem to answer adequately is if Lucifer is God's creation, then either God wants evil in the world, or or if he doesn't want evil in the world, why isn't he simply removing Lucifer from the equation? Right? It would seem to be a fairly simple, it's a, hey, either you want it to be here, or you could take it out, one or the other. So in the theology that starts underpinning all of the books as you go deeper and deeper into them, God didn't create Lucifer. God and Lucifer are brothers.
Oh.
And the whole battle on Earth for souls is simply their version of a board game. They're playing with people to determine which side wins, not because they particularly care one way or the other, whether it's good or evil, but just because there's sibling rivalry going on.
Okay. I like that. That's wow. I never would have expected that answer. That is something to think about. So, in this book, what characters in the book are most similar to you? Like, did you relate to any of your characters or anything?
Well, I mean, I always have fun with the characters, and there are going to be bits of me scattered through there, because as an author, one of the things is, you can imagine what you don't know, but you end up writing things that you do, and so when you're putting personality and character traits into characters, you know yourself best. Yeah. Now, like I said, there are bits of me scattered all over the place.
Nice.
I loved writing Faith's perspective because she has the greatest shift. She goes from really naive and innocent to being I'm not going to say evil because neither of them are evil, but she ends up accepting that there are going to be times where she's got to do something that she doesn't want to do because it has to be done.
Okay. Nice. So I wanted to talk about your cover photos, your book covers. Okay. How did that idea come up? Because those are nice covers. They make me want to read the book.
Thank you. So, the background is similar for all three. You have the flames, the idea of the flames, burning stuff down. You have the Roman feeling ruins behind there, and then on the Book of Three, you have Avarith, who is Kalili's ex. On the Book of 2, you have Faith, and on the Book of 1, you have Kalili. So, each of them represent, each cover represents one of the major characters, because by the third book, Avarith is a third main character.
Oh, okay. So, all of the main characters are women. There's no main character men, or
No, I mean there are supporting supporting male characters, but again, when I was writing it, there is an awful lot of male, female, angel, demon romances out there, and I didn't want simply to turn it on its head and just gender flip the the demon and the angel, because a lot of it's like, no, I'm turning it completely on its head, and that actually enters into the theology that I create later on, during the course of the books.
Okay. And I wanted to ask you, how long did it take you to write all of these books? Because you say you got them out within what, 60 days?
60 days. So it took about a year and a half to write all three. And that happened while I was writing other things as well. So it took about a year and a half to write all three, and then I had them ready, and I set it up to have a rapid release. The first one came out on February 1st, and the last one just came out, yesterday on April 1st. So I set it up to be rapid released, and then I started doing all the back, all the stuff that you do in the back of the house to get things done. All the preliminary marketing, getting it to ARC readers so that they could be ready to leave a review as soon as it was released. Start getting some buzz out there about them, and just getting things up and ready to go. So from start to finish, it was just about 2 years all told. But since then, like I said, I've written other things as well.
So do you have any other upcoming books that you're working on that's going to be coming out soon too?
Yeah. So one of the things I did while I was doing this was I took, from my Cassidy universe, I took a book down and did some revising to it, because it needed it. It was written very quickly, and it needed some more polish to it. And besides, since it's Kendra Cassidy's memoir of her childhood, she told me some more details. So I had to fill that all in. So it just went back out. That is called Quantum Quarks, A Science Fiction Childhood. That's available now. And I have 2 more books which are in the hands of alpha and beta readers. Tracking Tantor is in the hands of my beta readers, and that is a sequel to The Ghosts of Tantor, which again is a Cassidy Chronicles book. That one should be out by the summertime. And I have a comic crime caper novel. So think Ocean's 8, Ocean's 11, that I'm just starting to do edits on. In fact, I was working on it before I came on here. And that I'm hoping to have out for the fall.
Nice.
Yep. And the main characters from the God's Fall series, Kalili and Faith, they show up as supporting characters in my caper novel. So,
Really? Nice.
yep, it is all going to be one universe, Cassidy universe and the God's Fall universe, because there's nothing that contradicts each other.
Nice, nice. And are all of these going to be on audiobook? Say yes, because I
Yes.
already have one of your books on audiobook. So, so I want the rest of them.
Yes, the plan is to get all of them on audio. It'll take a little bit longer, simply because I'm paying for the best narrator I can get, and she's a professional film and television actress, and so paying for it has got to happen. So got to make the money.
Definitely. Before I let you go, Adam, I have one final question. What advice would you give my listeners who are starting out as authors?
Okay, so the two best pieces of advice I can give you is, first, do not stop writing. Even if it's just you go to the computer and you open up whatever you were working on and you think about it and you change a word or two, or you add a couple of sentences. Don't stop. If you can't work on that project, work on something else. They're all, if you want to be an author, that means there are a whole bunch of ideas bouncing around up here. There's always something else. So, if you stall out on something, move to a different project. So that's the first piece. The second piece is you're not going to write the great American novel right off the bat. The whole purpose of your first draft is simply to exist. It is probably going to be a big steaming pile. That is okay. It is perfectly fine for it to be that way, because you have to write the words in order to go back and change them. If you don't write them, you can't change them. You can't make them better. So write it. Just get it out there. And then go back and start hammering it into shape.
Right. Those are really great advice. And lastly but not least, where can my listeners find your books?
So most of my books are available wide, which means you can go to Amazon or Apple or Kobo and pick them up. The God's Fall books are exclusive to Amazon right now. I intend to keep them in there for exclusive for a few months before they go wide. All of my other books are available also on my website, CassidyChronicles.com, and you can go there and buy the books generally for less than you can buy them on Amazon. So, support an author directly, buy the books from me.
Yep, true. I want to thank you so much, Adam, for being a guest on my podcast. Again, a returning guest.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure, as always, to chat with you.
You have a great day.
Yeah, you too.
Bye. Hey, everyone. Thank you all so much for listening to my interview with Adam. And as he said, it's best to buy from his website to support the author. So go and check out his books and buy them and read them. They sound amazing. Do it. I have his books on audiobook. Great books. So go and check them out. Thank you all so much for listening, and see you next time for the next interview. Bye.